Welcome to the Brant and Sherry Oddcast, sponsored by America's Christian Credit Union. To order Brant's latest book, Life is Hard, God is Good, Let's Dance, or to find out more about the show, go to BrantHansen.com.
So this is kind of tough to talk about because, well, for several reasons, but I wanted to record this. Let's see, what time is it? It's just me in here. 4:26 Eastern Time, Wednesday, September 10th. At this point, and I'll give a little heads up. We're going to talk about the Charlie Kirk thing. So if you got little ears, I want to give you a heads up on that. So it's tough to talk about because you can get into politics here, and I'm really talking about our culture. And here's a guy, it's interesting too, because here's a guy who did debate. Like, you could say what you want to say, and then he'd say what he wants. That's what he did. And while he was talking about leftist violence, a shot rings out, which is just bizarre to watch. I don't want to watch it. It's very disturbing. I don't recommend you watch it. And then you think, okay, he's got kids, and he didn't. Unlike what apparently one news network was already saying, that basically he says things that they don't like, so he's kind of asking for it. There's so much because of stuff like that that's actually it could make a natural response, anger. So I'm seeing, like, in my social media feeds, people who are believers saying, "Pray for Charlie, pray for our country," and then enough is enough. It's time to get angry. And those two things are at odds, and I'll tell you why. Because you'll think, well, God's righteous anger, we've got to be angry about this. It does not help. It doesn't. Is it angering? Oh, sure. I can totally get that reaction. Absolutely. The initial reaction to it is going to be fear, threat, disgust, all of that stuff. Understandable. But here's where I am on this. I already know humans are messed up, and I study history. I know what humans do, and some horrific, and still do around the world in certain places to people. So I'm actually not shocked. This is something that I've shared in the past, although not much, because you don't want to get too much into politics. But one reason I'm not sanguine or I'm not hopeful about our future as a society is you've got people literally believing half the people walking around are Nazis. They use that kind of language. Well, when you use that kind of language, what do you got? Where are we going from here? So it's another reason I'm not shocked from a cynical standpoint, but I'm also not shocked just because I know human nature, and I know history and how humans work. This said, anger is the problem. It's not the solution to this. Human beings throughout history, think of all the stuff, the murders that happen because of anger. If you took anger out of the equation, how many murders would we be left with? Not a lot. Not a lot. Small percentage, I would say. How much, unrest among people groups are get back at you for what you guys did 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 200 years ago, 1,000 years ago. It's an endless cycle of vengeance, and that's not what I'm about as a believer in Jesus. This is not pacifism. For me, it's not passive. I'm not a strict pacifist at all, but I don't believe that anger and vengeance solves anything. There are things that we can do and should do with a clear mind for our culture to protect the innocent, to reestablish mental health for people. Like, there's things we need to do with our education system. We can talk about all that stuff, but the idea that, okay, now you've done it, now we're going to do this to you, that never ends. It never ends. So that, to me, there's like a huge disconnect between let's pray for our country and enough is enough. Let's go get them. Well, if you mean enough is enough, meaning let's think creatively and do what needs to be done to support a culture that's actually life-giving, yeah, sure, great. But if it's the vengeance thing, we're at war, here we go. We've already had that rhetoric. You can find that in politicians' rhetoric. We're at war now, And then you see people taking that very seriously. That just doesn't end. It does not end. So this is again, we get back to the genius of Jesus, like giving us a way out of this. It's interesting because I read, and maybe you've read this book because like 5 million people have read this book, Let Them by Mel Robbins. So I've been hearing about this. People have been telling me about it. So I got it on Kindle. I'm about halfway through it, I think. And it's about anger, although she doesn't mention anger very often. It's always about stress, she calls it. But she's clearly talking about anger. She doesn't want to deal with that, like we have an anger problem. But we have an anger problem. And she says a lot of stuff that's similar to what I was writing about when I wrote Unoffendable. Not about forgiveness per se, but about like not controlling people, and how exhausting it is to try to control people, and how to to be sitting there and stress, as she would put it, or I'd say anger doesn't actually help anything. But she makes the point that it actually does not help your judgment. It makes it worse. And I think that's totally true. She's not coming at this from a Christian standpoint. I thought what was really telling about that too was she likened that point of view to Stoicism. And I get that. There's some overlap with Stoicism. She likened it to Buddhism and then some other like non-attachment, something. I can't remember what she called it. Detachment theory? I don't know. But she likened this letting go of this control and this stress and like to those things. I'm like, interesting, because she closed it with an interview with Martin Luther King Jr.'s family. And they talked about how returning blessing for curses is actually a powerful move. And it is. But I thought it was funny. It's like, like they're Christians. That's where, this whole thing about blessing your enemies, actually loving the people. You have to get yourself in a point where you can look at somebody like the guy who shot or allegedly shot Charlie Kirk, look at him, and instead of thinking, ooh, disgusting, I hate those people, like you get to the point where you have to pray for somebody you feel that way about to give you perspective on it. This is not soft on crime stuff. It's not moral relativism. I'm not saying he shouldn't be punished and punished harshly. Like, I think that's justice, right? You have a fitting punishment for what somebody's doing. But in terms of our heart posture for someone, we can still be for people. This is weird, but that's like what Jesus is giving us is odd. It's very counterintuitive. We're still for people, even in the midst of this. And they can tell it. Even if they're committing wild acts of injustice, we don't act like it's okay. But we have to be praying enough for blessings on people whom we don't like, who have made themselves our enemies, who hate us, absolutely hate us. We return blessing for that. So yeah, this is tough to talk about because there's so many misunderstandings that can happen, but I want us to be the non-anxious presence. And things will happen that we can't control, and people might hate us anyway. In fact, we're kind of guaranteed they will. And that's part of the deal, but it doesn't mean it's wrong. And our families can benefit from that rather than us being anxious and angry. That comes back at them. Hey, this is Brant. We've all heard of win-win scenarios. This is like win-win, win-win-win. Check this out. Right now, you can seriously grow your savings. America's Christian Credit Union is offering the best 12-month certificate rate in the nation. It's a limited time thing, but you want to get on this 4.75%, which is outstanding, and you can get started with as little as $1,000. It's called a term share certificate, which is like a CD, but again, the win-win thing. It has a mission too. Your money stays safe, earns interest, and supports great things too. That's what America's Christian Credit Union does. It helps with Christian schools, missions work, funding adoptions, some awesome stuff. But you want to lock in this rate right now before it drops, 4.75%. Here's how to jump on it. Go to americaschristiancu.com/Brant. America's Christian Credit Union is federally insured by the NCUA. Go to americaschristiancu.com/BRANT. It's totally normal if somebody's like got a big exalted job or something, you're not going to bother them with your daily concerns, right? They got big things going on. And we can think that way about God. Like he's got bigger fish to fry than whatever I'm doing here. But that's not a good way to think about it. He meets us where we are, and his greatness, honestly, a big part of his greatness is his willingness to deal with us and be with us and walk amongst us and care about us. And that's our daily life too. I just want to remind you, because prayer is you and God talking about what you're doing in life together. And he does care. So you've heard the theory, no doubt, that there's 6 degrees of separation between one person and another on the planet. Like, I've heard that too. They just did a big study on Facebook. Like how many people away from you to get to me. Just randomly. It's 3.5 degrees.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I was really surprised by that. And honestly, a little disturbed. I don't, based on what I'm reading on Facebook, I'd like more.
Can we get to 6 or 7?
Yeah, I'd like a little more.
9, little space.
Like a lot more separation from an awful lot of people. Just another little reminder for you. God is not nervous. He is not worried. He is not bothered about the future. He's relaxed about this. Which is amazing, because we can go through all these worst case scenarios in our heads. What could happen to us? I'm a dad. Like, what could happen to my kids? Whew. I get worried. Why? Because I love them so much. Well, he loves us even more, and he's not worried. He loves us, and he's not worried. So I just bring that up to say, what does that tell you about how safe you are ultimately with him? He loves you, and he's not worried. Like, that means something really good. Okay, hi, my name is Brant Hansen, and I am one of those shock jocks that you hear about. And I wanted to tell you that up front.
Okay. You
I'm gonna
seemed
shock
a little
you.
more subdued than the shock jocks we knew in the 90s.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to be amped. So anywho, what I do is I shock people with shocking facts. They're like, whoa, what?
Okay.
No way. So check this out. You know airplanes,
Yes, I do.
right? And like a 747 jumbo jet.
Sure.
All right? You know clouds, right?
I am aware of clouds existing, yes.
What weighs more, the average cloud or a 747 jumbo jet?
I'm going to say, because you're trying to shock me, the cloud.
It's the cloud. You would never guess, but it is the cloud. You said it, but and I heard it, but I'm not going to let it ruin the thing.
No, because I don't want to ruin the thing. This is something.
1.1 million pounds for a cloud, and it's slightly less than that for the jumbo jet.
You know what? This actually isn't bad.
Thanks.
In an airport, I'm always thinking, where are you going to use this? Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Yeah,
That's
looking out the
actually not
window,
bad.
the
Yeah.
person next to you.
That's
be
right.
like, see that cloud?
That can definitely
See
work.
this plane?
Please make sure you attribute the Brant Hansen show.
Yeah. Copyright, Ray Hansen. This is exciting news. I think you will agree. They found a really nice fossil of an ankylosaur in Morocco, which is my favorite dinosaur.
I'm not aware of it.
Oh, so cool. They're so spiky.
Okay.
You should check them out sometime.
An ankylosaur?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't. That's how I pronounce it.
Sure.
The allosaur was my favorite for a while, but then I went back to ankylosaur.
Bumped off.
Yeah,
Ankylosaur,
I'm back to
yeah.
this. It's pretty cool, and I was excited.
Okay.
And if you ask a typical guy what his favorite dinosaur is,
He has an answer.
he will.
I know.
If you really want to get to know him,
That's the
telling
way
you.
to a guy's heart.
absolutely. You know, God's plan for you and us is goodness. Adam and Eve didn't even know what badness was. They didn't even know. They didn't even think to wear clothes, even, because there's no threat. There's nothing they're vulnerable to. They've only known goodness.
Yeah.
They don't know evil. But they weren't satisfied. They thought maybe God's not trustworthy after all. We're still dealing with that. And now we're constantly wrestling and battling evil. That was not God's plan. And he promises he's going to restore it to that again. Like, I cannot wait. Sometimes I like to sit on the old front porch, reminisce about the old days and stuff. Do you remember just how weird it would have been? There's phrases, obviously, that we say today that would have made no sense.
Uh-huh.
I lost my phone. Never. Or on the phone,
Yeah.
you would like the idea of, hey, where are you?
That's so true.
You know where I am because the phone is
attached,
screwed into the wall.
tethered
You
to
know
the house.
exactly where I am.
You call where I am.
If you're talking to me, you know exactly where I am. Here's a reminder. Ask God for wisdom. He likes to give it to us. It's so important. And I think one reason I forget to ask God for more wisdom is because I forget how wrong and how often I'm wrong that I am. This is normal. They've done studies about this. We talked about it. Most people will say, oh yeah, I'm wrong all the time. I'm wrong. I've been wrong. Yeah, tell me about that. Give me 3 examples you've been wrong. Oh, I can't remember any of them. Like our brain just like weeds that out. I'll remember when you were wrong.
Of course.
But me being wrong, much harder. Come up with any kind of list, and yet we are. We need him. We need his wisdom. We need to know what's valuable, what's not, what's more valuable than something else, or else there's pain that results from it. So why not ask him for it? So a little announcement for the podcast. You might be interested in this, or you could tell somebody if you're a teacher or an educator at all, any level.
We have a lot of teachers that listen.
Yep, that's what I was thinking. You might be interested in this. I spoke at a Christian educators thing last year, and they're having me back, and it's called Rise Up Christian Educators Summit, and it was really great. It's online. It's in October, so I'll do like a keynote address. I think there were 800 people in the room last time.
It's a lot.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And
you do this virtually?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just do it from here,
Okay.
but there's all of these different teachers and educators that have all of these seminars, and it lasts like a few days.
Okay.
And you can attend what you want and don't, but it's extremely encouraging to people, and like there's thousands of people who do this.
Yeah.
So again, if you're a Christian educator, you don't have to be in a Christian school. It could be homeschool, it could be public school, but it's to encourage you. And there's a lot of specific things about classroom management, or like how to handle this, how to handle your administration, like all that stuff.
That's fantastic. What did you talk about last time?
I talked about forgiveness.
Okay.
And so this year they want me to talk about anxiety.
Wow. Wonderful.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it, but most of them are really specific to education.
Okay.
Mine's more general, but I think you really like this. If you're interested in signing up, it's riseupchristianeducators.com/Brant. If you're interested in getting information about it, riseupchristianeducators.com/Brant. It's /Brant because if you register there, they will give us a portion of the registration fee.
All right.
And we will split it.
I was going to say, you are so happy about it overall. Even when you told me about it, there was such a twinkle in your eyes.
I don't know. I was really excited about, hey.
An affiliate link.
They had an affiliate link.
Yes.
I was like, hey, well, I could announce it on the podcast, and then maybe people would go. And then, I want to also say, if you don't want us to get a portion of it,
then just
that's
go to
great.
You should still go because you believe in that it will be enriching to educators, right? So if you're like, I want to do that,
skip the /Brant.
Yeah,
I want to do it, but I don't want groceries to be paid. I want Sherry and Brant to scrap. Fine, I respect it. I salute it even. But if you do riseupeducators.com/Brant, that'd be awesome. You should at least check it out.
Yes.
Just to see if it'd be really encouraging to you. We hope so.
The Brant and Sherry Oddcast, sponsored by America's Christian Credit Union. To find out more about the show, go to BrantHansen.com.